Welcome. In any healthcare setting, things can go from calm to, well, not calm in the blink of an eye. Today, we're digging into a skill that is absolutely essential: de-escalating patient conflict. These are high-stress, high-stakes moments for sure, but having the right tools can be the difference between a full-blown crisis and a peaceful resolution. It's all about keeping everyone safe.
So let's just dive right in with a tough question. What do you do when a patient's frustration boils over and they actually become a threat? For so many people working in healthcare, this isn't some abstract idea. It's a very real possibility, and it's why de-escalation isn't just a nice-to-have skill, it is a core part of providing safe, effective care.
To fix any problem, you first have to understand what's causing it. So let's start there. We're going to look at the common triggers that can turn a place of healing into a place of conflict.
And when you look at this list, you can see it's a whole mix of things. It's almost never just one thing, right? Sometimes it's obvious, like intense physical pain or a reaction to medication. But a lot of the time, it's driven by things like fear or just feeling completely helpless. And then you stack on things like long wait times or confusing processes. It all adds up to this overwhelming feeling of losing control.
And that really brings us to a key idea here. What we see is the reaction, the anger, the raised voice, the frustration. But we have to remember that this is often a reaction to something, not a deliberate plan to cause harm. Seeing past that outburst to the person who is scared, or in pain, or feeling powerless, that is the first and honestly the most important step in all of this.
Okay, so once you've got a handle on the why behind their behavior, the focus kind of shifts to you. Your mindset, your presence, that's your first tool. The way you carry yourself in that moment can either pour gasoline on the fire or start to create a little bit of space for calm to creep back in.
You know your body language speaks volumes before you even say a single word. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got all the classic defensive moves, getting too close, crossing your arms, but on the right, you see these open, non-threatening alternatives. Something as small as just angling your body instead of facing them head-on can totally change the vibe. It's all about signaling, I'm not a threat, I'm here to help.
And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? At the end of the day, this isn't about winning an argument or proving you're right. It's about meeting a really basic human need, the need to feel heard and to feel respected. Just acknowledging their feelings, even if you don't agree with how they're acting, that's the foundation for everything that follows.
All right, so we've covered the nonverbals. Now let's get into the verbal toolkit. The right words, said in the right way, can be incredibly powerful when it comes to bringing the tension down. This four-step process is simple, but man, it works. First, you set the tone. If you speak slowly and softly, you'd be amazed how often their voice comes down to match yours. Second, just listen. Don't interrupt. Let them get it all out. Third, validate their feeling, not their behavior. A simple, I can see how frustrating this must be for you, works wonders. And finally, offer choices. Giving them back a little bit of control can completely shift their mindset.
This is a perfect example, especially when you have to explain rules or policies. The wrong way, that's just the policy, is a total dead end. It's dismissive. But the right way explains the why behind the rule. It shows respect and helps the policy feel fair, not just like some random obstacle you're throwing at them.
Okay, everything we've talked about so far has been about bringing the temperature down. But let's be absolutely clear about something. Your personal safety is always, always priority number one. So now we have to talk about that critical moment when you need to shift from de-escalation to pure self-preservation.
These are the red flags. You need to have these warning signs burned into your brain. A sudden change in their voice, pacing back and forth, clenching their fists. These are all physical signs that things are getting dangerous. And let me just say this again. If someone makes a verbal threat, you take it seriously. Every single time. No exceptions.
The second you see those warning signs, your brain needs to switch gears. These safety protocols kick in immediately. 1. Make sure you're closer to an exit than they are. Never let yourself get cornered. 2. If you can, move to a quieter spot. 3. As we said, take every threat seriously. And 4. Call for help. Asking for backup isn't a sign of failure, it's you taking control of the situation to keep everyone safe.
So let's pull back from the crisis moment and look at the bigger picture here. This whole skill set isn't just about putting out fires. When these techniques are used day in and day out, they create a ripple effect that can make the entire healthcare environment better for everyone.
If you only remember one thing from all of this, please let it be this. De-escalation is not about winning an argument. It's not a debate. It's about totally reframing the goal away from a power struggle.
Instead, what you're doing is creating a bubble of safety for you, for the patient who is struggling, and for every other person in that building. When you successfully de-escalate a situation, you're preserving that environment of healing and care so it can continue safely for everyone.
And that really leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? These skills are a huge step, but how can we, as providers, as patients, as family members, use these ideas to make every single interaction in healthcare a safer and more respectful one? Thanks so much for joining me.